It's the Michael Patrick Leahy Show, broadcasting live from downtown Nashville, Tennessee. Now, here's Michael Patrick Leahy.
And welcome back. It is 12:05 p.m. We're broadcasting live from our studios in downtown Nashville, just a stone's throw from the Tennessee State Capitol. On the newsmaker line right now, our good friend, State Representative Chris Todd from District 73. That's in Jackson, Madison County. Welcome, Representative Todd.
Good day, my friend. How are you today?
Well, I'm great. You've been in the Tennessee General Assembly for several sessions. You're now the chairman of the Agriculture and Natural Resource Committee. My question for you today is this session of the Tennessee General Assembly about to end?
It does appear so. We go back in at 1 o'clock. We recess for a couple of conference committees. And as soon as they wrap up and we go back in at 1, hopefully things will be worked out between the Senate and the House on a couple of issues, and then we can roll up the rest of the bills that we have on our calendars. We don't have very many, just a handful. And one of the most important ones is the repeal of the property portion of the franchise tax, which many of us are very excited about. It's been a very unusual tax for a long time on our books, and we're ready to see that gone.
So it looks like that deal is struck between the Senate and the House?
It does appear that way, yes.
So you will, I guess the term is what's called, when you officially adjourn this session, it's sine die, right? Sine die is what to call it?
Yes, when we adjourn sine die, that means it is completely over and we will not be back in unless it's a special session.
And it doesn't look like to me that there's going to be a call for a special session between now and the next session of the General Assembly in January. Is there anything on the horizon that would suggest there will be a special session?
Nothing that I've seen or heard. I've not even heard any ugly rumors yet, so I don't believe so. Especially being an election year, we're all going to be very busy, and I just don't see that happening. With
the exception of the failure of the governor's signature bill, the Universal School Choice program, it seems to me this has been a very effective session of the Tennessee General Assembly. Is that your view as well?
It is. I don't have the list in my head. Everything else is in my head right now, trying to wrap up the last handful of bills. But we've done a lot of good things for the state of Tennessee. I believe our citizens' liberties and freedoms are protected more than they were when we began. And that's the main thing we're supposed to do. We pass a balanced budget, and then we are supposed to protect the liberties and freedoms of our citizens. And I intend to continue doing that as long as the voters of Madison County send me back.
Well, the other question I have for you, what in terms of your personal legislative agenda, have you had a particular legislative accomplishment this year that you're pleased to happened?
Well, one of the things that seems to have gained a lot of attention in the public that I passed this year is a bill that we actually passed on the House floor in 2020 before we recessed for the COVID crisis. And when we came back, the Senate didn't take it up, so it was dead, and I brought it back. It was not my effort then, but I thought it was a good idea. And it requires education for firearm safety in our schools and our public schools, which we already teach about fire safety and tornado safety and things like that. And this just works into that same SAVE Act training that they already do and already required to do, and it goes toward the credits that are required under that SAVE Act.
And that bill passed both houses. Has the governor signed it, or will he sign it?
As of a day or two ago, he had not. It was getting close to signing, and I believe he will. My understanding is that he will, so I don't think there's any concern there. But it's gotten some national attention, as a matter of fact, as being maybe the first of its kind, I think. But it's just basic training. It doesn't deal with live firearms at all. It strictly is that if you see a gun, don't touch it, tell an adult. I mean, that basic type of information, that basic understanding from an early age that 3 different departments will decide all the way through the 12th grade. Every year, just a few minutes every year, just a repetitive training that will hopefully be second nature to these children.
Mm-hmm. Good point. Now, there was a bit of controversy this week when the bill that would allow armed, trained teachers to have guns in schools with the approval of local law enforcement with a memorandum of understanding and their local school board. Passed very easily in both houses. For two questions on that. It is on its way to the governor for signature. He's got, I guess, like 10 days after he receives it. By that time, the Tennessee General Assembly will be out of session. If he doesn't sign it in 10 days after receipt, it becomes law. If he does sign it, obviously, it becomes law. Do you have any indication what the governor's intention is on that particular bill?
I really don't, but I think the impression I have is that he would not veto it. So I believe it's going to become law no matter what. I mean,
okay.
It's totally permissive. Right now, it is a crime for anyone to carry in a public school. And so, except if they're an on-duty police officer, basically, and that's just not enough in a lot of rural areas. And even metro, I mean, my gosh, they don't even have SROs in every school, and they've even come out saying that they're not going to allow their personnel, and it doesn't have to be teachers. There's a lot of personnel in school that could get this training and get this, go through the process, get the approval, and be legal to carry. But they've already come out publicly and said that they'd be opposed to that. So I guess they don't trust their own personnel, which is really, really strange to me. So we've got a lot of rural areas that are already doing something, either creating their own licensed security force so that their teachers can get around, not just teachers, personnel, can get around the stipulation of the law that makes it a crime. And probably some are carrying just because they know it's the right thing to do and take their chances. And those are the ones we certainly want to help out any way we can.
So Phil Williams at News Channel 5, who I refer to as sort of the Pied Piper of the I call them the synoptic left-wing globalist local television stations, and has a very left-wing point of view. We kind of shamed him into doing a story that wasn't pure puffery on Justin Jones. And so the story comes out last night. And his framing of the story is this conflict between Majority Leader William Lamberth and Justin Jones, where basically Justin Jones on the floor pointed his finger at Lamberth and said, "You're a racist, you're a racist, you're a racist." Phil framed this as saying, oh, this was, indicative of all the bitter divisions there in the Tennessee General Assembly and the House between Democrats and Republicans and black and white. And I look at this and I think, I don't think there are widespread bitter divisions between Democrats and Republicans. I think you got, a neo-Marxist nutcase megalomaniac in Justin Jones who is racing to get in front of every possible camera he can. And he's a divisive, angry, hate-filled character. But the virtually everybody else in the Tennessee House of Representatives is just trying to get the job done, even though there's disagreements. Now, I may have overstated the case a little bit, but I don't think so. What are your thoughts on that, Chris?
I don't think you've overstated it at all. Jones seems to be the underlying common denominator in almost every conflict, whether it's on the Democrat caucus side or on between he and Republicans. He seems to be always in the mix and trying to get attention. He's just starved for attention, and it's unfortunate. And even as much as I hate to give any positives toward the other Justin, he seems to be at least trying to speak intelligently on some things. I know that's difficult sometimes, but he does, and attempts to make some challenge to policy at least. But Jones just seems to hurl insults and make false accusations, as he did this week, and things like that. It's not productive at all. And when he talks, nobody listens. Even his own party, they don't listen. There's no reason to. There's nothing there. It's like listening to an empty bucket.
Listening to an empty bucket. I like that phrasing. And can we use that phrase, if you don't mind?
Yeah, I might even change it. Listening to an empty number 3 wash tub. That'd be even more agriculturally appropriate.
So he's not even popular with his fellow Democrats, I guess.
Oh, no, not at all. Not at all.
So Justin Pearson and he are always kind of fighting to see who's going to get in front of the camera first. I get that impression.
Seems that way, yes.
And I guess there's another leftist, Afton Bain. I don't know what she's she's done. Apparently, she kind of gets along with him. But I don't think there's any other Democrat that actually likes to work with the guy.
It doesn't appear so at all. If it is, I couldn't identify one right now if I had to.
Well, State Representative Chris Todd, thanks so much for joining us. I know you're going to grab lunch and then go back and finish up the work of the Tennessee General Assembly. Thanks for joining us. Have a great day.
Thank you, Michael. Look forward to joining you again soon, very shortly.
All right. We'll have more when we get back. This is the Michael Patrick Leahy Show. The Chief Team reminds listeners here that more and more veterans will be returning home over the next few years, and many are local. These heroes have elite military training and valuable professional skills, but they also need jobs too. That's why the Chief Team is encouraging all local businesses. Let's make it the year we hire smart and hire veterans. That's from the Chief Team, where they say service isn't just a courtesy, it's a commitment. For more information, call 931-444-3572. That's 931-444-3572 for the Chief Team in Clarksville.
Friends, one of the basic ideas of Western civilization is the dignity of the individual. America's founders encoded this principle and some key others in our basic plan of government, the U.S. Constitution. But you wouldn't know it by listening or reading in today's media. Individualism is deeply diminished in favor of identity politics, race, gender, social class, sexual preference, and so on and so forth. How did we get here? Our founders were brilliant about how factions work in politics, but they knew that identity is a private matter and that the purpose of government is not to regulate identities. Rather, a chief end of theirs was to prevent big government from suppressing the people. They knew our rights come from God and not man. They supported limited government. What we have today is the opposite: government tyranny, pure and simple. Now, I've discovered an outstanding way for all of us to have more insights into the vital ideas that shaped our exceptional nation. Dynamic audio presentations called The Giants of Political Thought. They're among the best I've ever heard for being both understandable and in-depth. To learn more, go now to carolmswain.com/giants and order today.
Target.com. Target.com is an online e-commerce tire retailer. We are here to serve the American public with the best possible customer service, the best pricing, and we make it extremely easy. We have many name brands and a lot of low-cost tires. The price is right, and it's easy. You go online to Target.com, Tireget.com, Target.com. You go there, you put your zip code in, all the inventory displays right in front of you. You can call in for help if you want to. We'll help you get the tire that you need. But we will take the tires you buy and at no extra charge deliver them to the dealer right by your house, where they will be installed at the market price. It's easy. The best price, the best service. Great people to deal with. Thank you for going to Target.
Welcome back to the Michael Patrick Leahy Show. Now, here's Michael Patrick Leahy.
It's 12:19 p.m. We are broadcasting live from our studios in downtown Nashville. It's Thursday, April 25th, 2024. We'll be joined at 12:30 by our very good friend Tom Pappert, lead reporter at the Tennessee Star. He's going to give you an update on the Phil Williams journalistic failures. And he tried to present himself as calling balls and strikes in his interviews with Justin Jones the other day, but yeah, it didn't quite work. Not really able to do it. He just couldn't quite pull it off. So we'll talk with Tom about that. There's another story going on today, and it seems like every time we turn around, it's all about lawsuits and lawfare and litigation. Oh my goodness. Just always lawyers. And, of course, Donald J. Trump. Not only is he being sued in 5 cases, 2 federal government cases, the case in Georgia by Fulton County, the hush money case in New York City that's going on today, the civil fraud trial in New York City that brought by Letitia James, where he's got that going on. And on Monday, the judge finally accepted a bond of $175 million for an appeal where Donald J. Trump put up cash. Letitia James, the Attorney General of New York State, who ran on a platform of getting Trump, didn't want to take the bond. Why? Because the bond company wasn't licensed in the state of New York, even though the collateral was cash. Duh. So, I mean, Donald Trump is in court. So he's been in court today, required by the judge on this literally trumped up hush money charge. We'll get to that in a bit. That same day, Monday, his lawyers were in a courtroom getting the $175 million bond in the civil trial, civil fraud trial. But then today, in the United States Supreme Court, he is appealing a ruling that's related to one of the cases brought against him by the villainous Jack Smith, who's a special prosecutor in the Department of Justice. This is the J6 case, the one in Washington, D.C., not the one he's persecuting in Florida on the documents case. And the argument here that Trump's attorneys made before the trial court judge, what's her name, Chutkan? Yeah, was that, look, you cannot be prosecuted if you're the president for official actions you took while president. That's the core of the matter. And then an appeals court, 3-member appeals court, said, yeah, I guess you can. Well, that is the argument about whether or not a president can be prosecuted for official acts he's taken while president is being debated right now before the Supreme Court. Mike Davis with the Article 3 Project, the terrific attorney, had this analysis of the case talking to Stephen K. Bannon on War Room yesterday. Here we go. It is clip number 8. There we go. Well, we're hoping to get clip number 8.
You're at the Supreme Court tomorrow. Walk me through. Give me a preview on this monumental immunity hearing tomorrow.
Yeah, I will be out there for the War Room reporting in front of the Supreme Court, and this is a monumental case before the Supreme Court. It's one of the most important cases the Supreme Court will ever hear, and it's this. Are presidents of the United States, any president of the United States, are they immune from criminal prosecution for their official acts, not their personal acts or private acts, their official acts? Members of Congress are immune from criminal prosecution for their official acts. So are federal judges. Why the hell would the president of the United States not be immune from criminal prosecution? There's not a Trump derangement syndrome exception in the Constitution. And I would say this, if the Supreme Court does not rule the right way and protect the presidency and therefore our country, that means the Trump 47 Justice Department can indict President Obama for capital murder, along with now Judge David Barrett on the First Circuit Court of Appeals, who was his legal advisor at the time, for their drone strike, extrajudicial drone strike on 2 American citizens, including a minor. Capital murder. The Trump 47 Justice Department can also indict Biden and Mayorkas and his advisors for their illegal mass parole and release of illegal immigrants into America and their resulting crimes, right? Do Democrats really, and actually even George W. Bush and Dick Cheney for their reckless, at best, reliance on intel that led to the Iraq War and hundreds of thousands of deaths, right? Does Liz Cheney, do these Democrats really want to go down this path where the president of the United States and his advisors are not immune from criminal prosecution for their official acts? Because I would say to Liz Cheney, who's now the New York Times favorite pundit. Does she want her father, Dick Cheney, the vice president at the time, who I would say lied about the intel to go into Iraq? Does she want the Trump 47 Justice Department to charge Dick Cheney for his lie about the intel to go into Iraq and the resulting hundreds of thousands of deaths? Do we really want to play this game?
Yeah, very good argument there by Mike Davis yesterday. That was yesterday. Now, this morning, if you were listening here on 760 AM WENO in Nashville, or if you were listening to the John Fredericks Radio Network on 730 AM KQPN in West Memphis, you heard in the 10 o'clock hour, our time, Mike Davis, who was right outside the United States Supreme Court and had been listening to the oral arguments that were being made. And his sense was that Trump was going to win the case and that it would be either 6-3, and you know what the 6-3 would be. The three negatives would be, of course, Ketanji Brown Jackson, Sonia Sotomayor, and Elise Kagan, the left-wing liberals on the court. It would either be 6-3 or 5-4 in Trump's favor. The one that might be wiggly on it, Amy Coney Barrett, who's been, I have to say, although Trump nominated, been kind of disappointing, right? Because oftentimes she sides with the left-wing justices here. And I really can't figure that out. I can't figure her out. Now, Mike Davis said, yeah, her problem is a little bit that she's a law professor and sometimes she overthinks things, which might be the case. But nonetheless, what Mike Davis said just a few hours ago is he thinks it'll be either 6-3, 5-4, Trump victory. He didn't know when the decision would be made. Would it be made in June, which is usually when they put all the decisions together, handed back to him, or would it be sent right away? Or the term is remanded to the district court, where a Judge Chutkan then would have to interpret that. And what that would do is take away much of Jack Smith's argument, many of the charges against former President Trump. Not all of them, but many of them. You combine that with another Supreme Court decision that could happen momentarily, or will at least happen by June, on the so-called Fisher case, where they were looking at a statute, I think it's 1512C. It's a statute that came about just recently, which is designed right after the Enron implosion. And what that was designed to do was to prohibit accountants from destroying records. Now, the Biden Justice Department, because they're mean, evil, and vicious, have kind of taken that and used it to charge J6 defendants with crimes, convict them, and imprison them for up to 20 years. So, but that's probably going to go away. The court's probably going to rule that is not a proper charge. You put that away, you get the Trump wins on the immunity. So in that case, and Jack Smith doesn't have a lot of charges against Donald Trump. So we'll see how all that plays out. And of course, what is this all about? This is about an election. It's not about the law. We have all these instances where the Biden administration, local governments like Fulton County, Manhattan, are conspiring to interfere in this election. We'll talk more about that at a later date, probably early next week. I'm working on an article on that, and I think I've got a very good argument. All right, when we come back, Tom Pappert joins us. The latest with Phil Williams. Back after this. tell you about an event. It's the Glock Store's 4th annual open house, June 1st, 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. Now, the Glock Store is where I bought my Glock and where Crom and I train. They have great raffle bags. Last year, they gave away over $9,000 worth of top-shelf gear like Vortex scopes and Holosun Red Dot optics. Most bags are worth a few $100s, some a lot more. Hey, and there's shooting competitions with really nice prizes. Last year, the winner on the Fast and Accurate stage won a free Glock. And speaking of a free Glock, they also give one away that day to some lucky attendee. You don't have to be present to win. Just show up to enter. There'll be factory reps there demoing all the latest gear from all the top brands. It's a really great event, and it's never too early to save the date. That's the Glock Store's 4th annual open house, June 1st, 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. McGill's world-famous Glock Store, minutes from the airport and worth the drive from anywhere. This is Michael Patrick Leahy. Join me every weekday from 11 a.m. to 2 p.m. right here on 760 a.m. WENO in Nashville. You know, we are the only America First talk radio station in Nashville, and we have a terrific lineup from 5 a.m. to 9 a.m. You can listen to The John Frederick Show. From 9 a.m. until 11 a.m., it's Stephen K. Bannon's War Room. And what do we talk about? Well, we talk about the things that Stephen K. Bannon talks about and more. Are you worried about the fact that the United States debt is increasing $1 trillion every 100 days? Yes, it's $34 trillion and growing. Are you worried about the border invasion? Listen to us every weekday morning from 11 a.m. to 2 p.m. on 760 a.m. WENO in Nashville. I'm Michael Patrick Leahy.
This is Michael Patrick Leahy. I want to say a few words about our friends at DT McCall's. This is the place to go if you want appliances, furniture, lawn equipment, or gun safes. They have 5 locations in Middle Tennessee, Franklin, Carthage, Lebanon, Cookeville, and Lafayette, and have been a family-owned business for more than 100 years. We bought our refrigerator and dishwasher from DT McCall's, and these appliances have been great. And the delivery and installation service was just fantastic. By the way, free delivery and haul away of your old appliance or furniture within 125 miles of Carthage. And DT McCall's is one of the top 10 dealers of Cub Cadet lawnmowers in the country. And don't forget, you can get your Liberty gun safes there. That's DT McCall's on the web at dtmccalls.com.
Welcome back to the Michael Patrick Leahy Show. Now, here's Michael Patrick Leahy.
And welcome back. It is 12:33 p.m. We welcome to our newsmaker line a very good friend, the lead political reporter at the Tennessee Star, Mr. Tom Pappert. Hello, Tom. I'm hoping Tom's there.
Hello, Michael. Great to be here.
We are glad to have you here, Tom. Well, I think Phil Williams at News Channel 5, the Pied Piper of the synoptic left-wing globalist local television regime, I think he kind of got intimidated by some of your reporting, Tom, where you basically called him out for not reporting.
Well,
go ahead.
I was just going to say I have to credit everybody at the Tennessee Star, not the least you, and of course Matt Murphy over at the other radio station, because yes, I was impressed to see Phil Collins do something resembling journalism for the first time and as far back as I can remember.
Phil Williams, obviously, not the drummer, but perhaps.
No.
Yeah, but nonetheless,
if only in his dreams.
Yeah. You're. But what's interesting because you reported that in his interview with Dan Mandis on 99.7 WTN, he admitted that these allegations that he had covered up reports of a sexual assault by a homeless man on 2 female protesters at a 62-day rally and sit-in that he led in 2020. Phil asked him about that, and he said, I don't want to comment about it because those allegations placed on Facebook that I covered this up because I didn't want to have the message about the protest obscured or changed. Phil didn't report that because he'd had a previous relationship, Justin said, with or a relationship with the claimant. And then Phil also said, yeah, I talked to some people there, and they said, well, yeah, they're basically, I'm paraphrasing, oh, yeah, there had been an incident, but they decided instead of going to the police, they're going to talk to the perpetrator, which is like, crazy. But he admitted that. Phil Williams admitted that on Friday, and you got on it real quickly. And Phil didn't like it, and so we had some back and forth on X, formerly Twitter, about that. But turns out he decided finally to do a report on this. And well, let me just play it. Let me play it. He did a report on Justin Jones' behavior and framed it in a crazy way, but it was not a completely 100% fawning, publicity PR statement. So let's play clip 9 where News Channel 5 frames the report. Here we go. Start clip 9.
He may be the most polarizing person on Tennessee's Capitol Hill. A lot of people love him, but a lot of others can't stand him. Hello, everyone. I'm Rory Johnston.
And I'm Hunter Hoagland. A lot to get to here at 6 o'clock. Nashville State Representative Justin Jones certainly has a flair for the dramatics, but is he battling a toxic environment on the Hill or contributing to it?
Okay, I mean, the framing of this. A lot of people love him. A lot of people can't stand him. No. Virtually everybody in the Tennessee General Assembly can't stand him, right?
Well, including his own Democratic colleagues,
right.
As almost Phil Williams tells us, but he doesn't quite go that far.
He just can't help himself. Old habits die hard with left-wing propagandist Phil Williams. Here's Phil Williams kind of wrapping it up. Here we go with clip 11.
Well, why not just concede the point, though, that much of your schooling was in a segregated environment?
Because it's irrelevant.
All of this leaves Tennesseans with lawmakers who know how to shout at each other, but with little ability to really listen. And to be clear, as we've reported many times, Republicans have given ammunition to Representative Jones, who, for example, had a bill to honor a civil rights figure, but Republicans insisted on taking out any mention of, quote, oppression. On the other hand, he is also feuding with other members of his own Democratic caucus, both black and white. What they won't say on camera, but will say privately, there are quite a few Democrats who are also fed up with him.
Talk about revealing. Phil, I know so many Tennesseans are frustrated with this toxic environment. Did Representative McKenzie offer any answers what needs to be done?
Well, he does blame the Republican supermajority for creating much of the tension by limiting the number of opposing voices and cutting off debate on important topics to the point that people feel like they have to yell to be heard.
There's got to be another way. All right, Phil, thank you for your reporting.
Yeah, so Phil Williams just can't help himself. He's got to close it by framing it. Oh, yeah, those Republicans won't let the Democrats talk. They did an analysis of speaking time on the floor of the House in 2023. Of the 12 most active speakers on the floor with the most time, 11 of them were Democrats. Justin Jones was third out of 12. He just can't help himself on this. And the other thing about this, what a sanctimonious ending from Rory Johnston, the anchor there. By the way, Rory, you're just dumb as rocks, the way you present all this stuff before. I've said this many a time. Oh, what can be done about this toxic environment? Tom, let me ask you this. They're framing it as if there's this, Phil is framing this as if there's this widespread, his tweet said this, widespread, well, he didn't say widespread, but he gave the impression, bitter divisions in the Tennessee General Assembly. Gave you the impression, widespread bitter divisions between Democrats and Republicans and black and white up there. I read it this way. There's not bitter divisions between a lot of people up there. There's one neo-Marxist megalomaniac nutcase, Justin Jones, and he is spewing bitter hatred, calling everybody a racist. And Phil Williams, in that story where he was pretending to call balls and strikes, He's just fanning the flames of that bitter hatred. Your thoughts, Tom Pappert?
Well, I think that's right. And I think Phil Williams had to do something, again, approximating journalism, because he was feeling the scrutiny. He was feeling everybody pointing at him and say, what are you doing? Why are you covering for this guy? Is it because you share his politics and you like what he has to say? And I think that this also comes down to what you just said a moment ago. The kid is nuts. The kid is a neo-Marxist from California, transplanted into Tennessee with the sole purpose of being a big fish in a small pond. Bill Williams, also a big fish in a small pond in his mind, views this as a wonderful opportunity to get good ratings. Now, one thing I just have to express, Michael, is I do wonder if Representative Sam McKenzie, who was interviewed, he's the leader of the Tennessee Black Caucus of State Legislators, I wonder what he thinks of Bill Williams putting words in his mouth there at the end about, well, he really does just blame the Republicans, even though Sam McKenzie sat there and listed his disagreements with Justin Jones for most of that 10-minute segment.
Yeah, very interesting. Now, let's get back to an issue of Phil Williams' journalistic failures. Now, remember, and this is kind of fun to watch, he's been very quiet on X, formerly Twitter, when we basically brought the receipts and asked him to, or demanded that he retract some false statements that he made about you. And by the way, your article on Saturday, which outlined the journalistic failures of Phil Williams in terms of his dealing with Justin Jones, spot on. I mean, he never reported his conversation with Justin Jones, where Justin refused to comment on the 2020 allegations that he covered up these alleged sexual assaults by a homeless man. And he never reported that he talked to people there who seemed to corroborate that such an incident had taken place. So when we shared that story with him on X, formerly Twitter, his response was not to address the facts in the story. His response was to make two false claims about you. And in particular, and we've addressed both of them. Number one, he falsely claimed, Tom, that you were a former employee of Alex Jones and InfoWars. He said that. And we've asked him, we've demanded 3 times, it'll be probably 4 times, that he retract that. We showed the whole story. We talked about that, that you were never an employee, and that you were the principal in Flyover Media, which owned National File, until from 2019 to 2022. And then this other claim that you were, aligning with Alex Jones, and you were against the Sandy Hill families. Again, yesterday we did a story that pushed back on that. So we have 2 false claims made by Phil Williams. My question to you is, and we're gonna come back to and say, Phil, you've made these false statements about Tom. We demand that you retract them. What do you think the over-under on Phil's response is going to be?
I think Phil Williams is eventually going to buckle because he lied. He's factually wrong. He is incorrect, and this is something that we have him dead to rights on. If he doesn't retract, however, I'm not going to be surprised or lose sleep over it. This is somebody whose opinion I value less and less with each report I see from him, with each tweet he publishes. So I'm not going to lose sleep, but I do think he's going to retract because somewhere deep down, Phil Williams is got to be a person who values facts, at least when it comes to simple biographical details that are easily confirmed.
Yeah, well, it's interesting. We'll see. I mean, he is, he's got a pattern, though. Whenever he's challenged and he's got the facts wrong, he comes up with a deceptive distraction. That's his pattern of behavior.
Now, I do think this Justin Jones interview is his deceptive distraction. He thinks he's engendered some goodwill from us crazy conservatives over at the Tennessee Star, and I don't think he's correct about that.
No, I don't think so at all. I mean, I think he's going to pretend, he's calling balls and strikes, right? But not at all. In fact, I think we talked a little bit. In fact, I want to get this framing here. In fact, I'm going to look at it right now, Tom, as we're talking in real time about exactly what he said about this article. Video posted, he said, Justin Jones clashes with fellow lawmakers expose bitter divisions on Tennessee's Capitol Hill. There's no broad bitter divisions. You've got Justin
The bitter
Jones.
divisions is every legislator on Capitol Hill versus Justin Jones.
Yeah, I don't think even like he's got conflict with Justin Pearson, one of the two others of the Tennessee Three. The Tory, another Democrat out of Memphis, he's got conflict with him. I think maybe the new leftist from North Nashville, Afton Bain. I don't think he's had any conflict with her yet. But hey, you know, they haven't known each other that long, so right? Anyways, of course, the other irony here is he may be disqualified from the ballot because he only filed 26 signatures to get on the ballot for the August primary as a Democrat. One has already been disqualified, and 10 more have been challenged. So that'll be kind of fun to watch. Tom Pappert, thanks so much for joining us today.
Anytime, Michael. It's always a pleasure.
All right. When we come back, Hamas protesters going crazy on American campuses. Back after this. This is Michael Patrick Leahy. You've heard me praise Thaley's Academy, the high-quality, affordable private school now in Franklin, Tennessee for students K through 5. Well, the people that brought you Thaley's Academy are opening up Thaley's College in Raleigh, North Carolina this fall on the web at thaleyscollege.org. That's THALES college.org. Get this, a 3-year high-quality college program with total tuition costs of $36,000 to get a college degree. Plus, every student will be helped to get an internship in the field of their choice. If you are a high school senior or the parent of a high school senior, please go to thaleyscollege.org. That's thaleyscollege.org to learn more about this great higher education option. Classes begin this fall. It's time to be smart about how you spend your money for college.
In 2008, the amount of concentrated time people could spend on a task without becoming distracted was 12 seconds. 5 years later, it was only 8 seconds, 1 second less than a goldfish. If you're often distracted or have trouble recalling information, you're likely to fall behind in the demanding, fast-paced 21st century. In other words, brain performance is more critical now than ever. Boost your brain power with Healthy Cells Focus Plus Recall. Science-backed nootropics to help you sharpen focus, concentrate longer, enhance recall, improve mental speed, learn rapidly, and be more alert. It's a pill-free brain supplement made with maximum absorption ingestible gel technology, designed to feed your brain at the cellular level. Take it for a test drive. Go to healthycell.com and use code GODZILLA for 20% off your first order of Focus Plus Recall. That's healthycell.com, code GODZILLA for 20% off.
This is Crom Carmichael, CEO of Soul Tea. Our cardiovascular system is just amazing. Our bodies have over 100,000 miles of veins and arteries. Our heart pumps 2,500 gallons of blood through our bodies every day. Our heart beats 100,000 times every day. Taking care of our heart and cardiovascular system is key to having a healthy life well into our 80s. If you have a weak heart, you're tired. You're weak. Life is not fun. I'm 75 years old and take 0 prescription drugs. I've been taking Soul Tea's active ingredient for over 20 years. I hope you will start taking care of yourself today by going to GodzillaHeart.com and start taking Soul Tea today. Use the code Godzilla at checkout to get our best offer, which is 50% off your first shipment and 3 bottles for the price of 2 thereafter. Please start taking care of yourself today.
Welcome back to the Michael Patrick Leahy Show. Now, here's Michael Patrick Leahy.
12:50 p.m. We are broadcasting live from our studios in downtown Nashville. You can hear us every day from 11 a.m. to 2 p.m. here in Nashville on 760 a.m. WENO and in Memphis on 730 a.m. KQPN. So also YouTube. We're on YouTube, The Michael Patrick Leahy Show. And go there if you would. Share that with your friends and subscribe to it. It's really, we're playing a lot of video there now. And so it's a multi-channel experience here on the Michael Patrick Leahy Show. Well, if you've followed the news, there's a troubling development here in the United States right now. You've got all of these pro-Hamas, Free Palestine demonstrations, anti-Semitism rampant on college campuses in the United States of America. It's been around for a while. It's been growing. It's this kind of red-green alliance between Sharia supremacist Islamists on the one hand and far left communists, neo-Marxist communists. And so that group, and by the way, the funding is something we want to look at. Where's the money coming from for this? There's a report that it's coming from foreign governments. That doesn't surprise me at all, not one bit. And of course, the usual suspects in universities in the United States of America, the elite universities, they are not really all that much involved with, eager, shall we say. They are not eager to fix the problem at all. And so they're caving left and right. And so you see all of these protesters in Columbia intimidating Jewish students, protesters in Yale. One Jewish student in Yale, I think it was a woman, had a flagpole hit her in the eye. Really? So they're getting away with a lot of this intimidation in the Northeast. But Texas, the University of Texas, a little different. Governor Abbott called Texas state troopers in. And by the way, I lived in Texas for a little over a year. You never want to mess with a Texas state trooper, okay? You don't want to mess with any state troopers. But of all the states in the Union, the one you at least want to mess with is a Texas state trooper. They are serious. So these pro-Hamas, anti-Semitic demonstrators, not all of whom are students, took over the campus, parts of the campus at the University of Texas at Austin. We have a video clip of what happened to them when the Texas state troopers came in. Here we go. Here's that clip. Well, tip of the hat there to the troopers in Texas State Troopers. Look, that's the way you deal with these nutcases. Shut them down, get them out of the way. That's what has to happen. You cannot coddle them. You cannot allow them to take control of a campus. And so hopefully, and that was, Governor Greg Abbott doing that, a very good move on his part. So hopefully that will be something that that others copy. I am not very confident that they will. You have all these, and then you have Polly Pockets, Speaker of the House Mike Johnson. Of all the things that he could do, he decides it's important for the Speaker of the House to go up and deliver a speech in Columbia and say, no, don't be anti-Semitic. Okay, fine. That's not going to make any difference, Mike. Hey, before we take a break here, there's a weird story, very weird story that I have to tell you about. Did you see this in the news? The Secret Service agent who got in a fight? Yeah. Our producer, Patrick's going, what? I don't know. The Secret Service has been around for, 150 years? But apparently there is a Secret Service agent on the detail of Kamala Harris. Went crazy, got in a fight. She was armed at the time. Apparently this agent has been identified by some sources as a white woman by the name of Michelle Herczeg, Herczeg. And she was apparently a former police officer in Dallas. She apparently had a total mental breakdown. I mean, she was mumbling to herself, hiding behind curtains, but she was armed and got into a fight with other Secret Service agents. This is not good. Now, there are some people that are saying, yeah, why did this happen? It is the fruit of DEI. Yeah, I don't know. Look, I don't know. But it is. I will tell you this. I have never heard of a story as crazy as this, that an armed Secret Service agent on the part of the group that's protecting the detail that's protecting the Vice President Kamala Harris got into a fight with other Secret Service agents and had a total mental breakdown. Why did that happen? And by the way, do you know who now controls the Secret Service? They used to be part of the Department of Treasury. Not anymore. They're part of Homeland Security. And Alejandro Mayorkas, the guy who won't enforce our border laws and the guy who was impeached by the House and the Senate wouldn't even hold a trial, that guy is in charge of the Secret Service. We're going to look into this and see why this white woman, Michelle Herczeg, former police officer in Dallas, how did she get on this detail to protect Kamala Harris, and why did she go crazy? And why didn't they catch it earlier? Hey, we'll have more when we get back. This is the Michael Patrick Leahy Show.
Agriculture and commerce, Tennessee's state motto and the seeds of freedom throughout our state's past. Governor Lee is sowing those same seeds into the fertile soil of education.
We should strive to have the best public school system in the country and provide choices for parents.
Thank you, Governor Lee, for encouraging the growth of every kid in Tennessee. Yes, every kid. This ad was paid for by Yes, Every Kid.
This is Michael Patrick Leahy. If you want a really great haircut, I recommend Refined Men's Salon of Cool Springs. My friend Julie White owns Refined Men's Salon of Cool Springs, and she's cut my hair for years. Julie, what's the secret to a great haircut?
Having the passion to form it into the head shape of your client, and so they can have a nice, easy style every morning.
Well, an easy style. I like that, Julie. And so if people want to go and find out where Refined Men's Salon of Cool Springs is, just do a Google search of Refined Men's Salon of Cool Springs, and you can book an appointment with Julie online right now. Where are you located, Julie?
330 Mayfield Drive, Suite A5, Unit 106.
In Franklin, Tennessee. You can call 615-219-0188 to book an appointment. That's 615-219-0188.
Preaching tradition is deeply connected to gospel music.
PBS presents a new series hosted by Henry Louis Gates Jr., Gospel.
Our singers preach and our preachers sing.
Gospel is a prayer. It is our heart's cry to God in lyrics and song.
You feel it deep down in your soul.
Gospel. Streaming now on the PBS app.